Hi and welcome to this Blueberry Markets video update with me, John Kibler, head currency analyst. In this video, I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I'm going to go through my top 3 volume profile setups, or at least how to kind of set them up and how you can use them for your own trading, swing trading and intraday trading. So we're going to go over the settings first that I use, and then I'll go from there. So these are the settings. Now on TradingView, if you use a sort of paid service, you can get access to the volume profiles. Okay, there are other providers out there as well that provide volumes and things like that. Obviously TradingView is quite a nice sort of setup. So what I do is I use volume profiles on TradingView, and then I use Blueberry Markets for execution, just to kind of, that's how you can kind of set up yourself for your charts. Not loads of brokers work with TradingView, so there's other alternatives to how you can use it. You can use your TradingView for your analysis, and then use a broker for executions, and you can use Blueberry Markets. There's links down below. But essentially, what we're looking at is my volume profile setup. So rows layout, it's just number of rows. I'm pretty sure that's standard. Row size, I've increased it to 50 just to give me a little bit more viewing room. Volume, I think that's standard up and down. And value area 70, that's pretty typical, so you can keep that. If you go into style, then, so this is just where I've had a couple of questions saying that my volume profile looks different to yours. It's just that I've changed the colors really of all of them, and I've changed a couple of items on there. Like I've turned the value area high and value area low off on the fixed range. On the session volume, so there is another one called session volume profile, okay, which I use for intraday trading, and these two boxes are ticked on that particular profile. I haven't featured it in here because I've just took a quick snapshot of the fixed range one, because that's the one that gives you the bigger levels to work with. So you can pause that here, you can have a little look at what I've done there, but then we'll go into some swing trading ideas. So the first one you could do is a monthly volume profile. Okay, so all you do to do this is you'll select the fixed range volume profile tool, and you'll drag it from the start of the month to the end of the month. Okay, and you'll get a volume profile for that period of time. Okay, now what I'm looking at when I see these kind of volume profiles is I want to know a few things. I want to know where the point of control is, which is the sort of most volume level or the most traded level within that month. I want to know the value area high, okay, and I want to know the value area low, and that's because this sort of area here is where 70% of most trading has been done within that particular month. Okay, now why is that important? Well, it's important because if price trades outside of that value area, we could either see price discovery further up or price discovery further down. If price comes back within that value, we could see price trade from one side of value to the other side of value and things like that. Okay, so I really like the volume profile in that case. It gives me a little bit more direction in terms of where is price kind of, is it going to come back within value? Is it not? Is it rejecting value? And you can see at the start of this month here, price comes down into the value area high and we get a rejection. Okay, so at this moment in time, in this period, the price came down, retested the value area of that month and rejected it, and price saw higher prices at that point. We then, however, consolidated, and look what happened. Price closed back within the value area. That's a big sign that we could start to see some further downside. And what I particularly like to look for, depending on what time frame you're using, is 2 closes back within a value area. So this is actually a 4-hour chart. Okay, excuse my writing there. Let me just redo that little bit up there. This is actually a 4-hour chart. okay, with monthly profiles. Now, I recommend kind of 4-hour daily charts if you're going to use the monthly, just because you've got that bigger area to use with. But 2 closes back into a value area could suggest that you're going to see another move within that value, and you can see what happened there. Price came in, retested the other side of value, and then again we get that kind of rejection. We try and break out. Price tries to look for further downside, but it fails, and we get 2 closes back within that value area, and price starts to move back towards that zone again. So you can see how effective that can be if you're trading sort of value area to value area. You can see how it rejects the value area high. And obviously then you'd plot the next month after that, because I think the next month is here to here. So once that one's done with and dealt with, you'll plot the next one and then go from there. But monthly volume profiles can work really well, especially untested point of controls. If one of these was untested, you can see here, price broke straight through it. So when price does that, it's basically telling us that price is really ignoring that point. Okay, we don't really need to focus on it too much. It's respecting the value area high, so we know that that's important. It's respecting the value area low, so we know that's important. Point of control in this case wasn't that important. But if we look in the past and we saw a point of control, let's just say back here for instance, and the point of control was like here where this top is, because you can see that on occasion, you know, that would have been a very good one to use if it was there, of course. Going on to the weekly volume profiles then. So again, this is for sort of swing trading ideas. I'd be looking for weekly sort of profiles, which is what we typically look at in the week ahead analysis videos. And again, I use the 4-hour and the weekly chart quite often. You could also use the hourly chart with the weekly profiles. That's, you know, very good as well. So completely up to you how you want to look at it, but you can see here I've put some examples. I've skipped this week here because I did plot it originally, but it was a bit confusing looking at all the lines. But you can see here price opens up, we break out of the value area. Where do we come into? Now, I haven't put high volume nodes on here, but they are something you should consider when looking at volume profile. High volume nodes are basically like miniature point of controls. They're showing you an area where there was an increase in volume, or a price where there was an increase in volume. So you can see price comes and retests that high volume node, and look, price bounces to the upside. Where do we find resistance? We found resistance at the value area low. Price then breaks through. Where do we find resistance? Point of control. Price breaks higher. Where do we find resistance? Value area high. And then price sinks to the downside. So you can see how, although price respected all of those levels, if you were trading lower time frames at these points, you would have had some decent opportunities around each of those levels. You can see even then, if I was to plot that value area low ahead, we get a retest of it and price pushes to the upside. This yellow line in here is a high volume node, which was created from this week that I took out, and you can see that price comes and tests that, and then we push to the downside. So I haven't plotted it, but I've left the line on there just to show you that. Again, in this example down through here, we can see that price trades outside of the value area. It comes down, it respects the value area high, not just once but twice. Okay, so that could have given you a couple of opportunities the next week. So you can see how the weekly ones work well. I personally use the weekly and then the sessions. I don't typically look at the monthly ones that much, but if you don't have a lot of time to look at the markets, then it's a great starting point for your volume profile analysis. Going on to the European session volume, that is meant to actually say European and US session volume. Basically what I like to look at for, and this is definitely for intraday trading, okay, you want to be looking at the levels from the previous sessions, and these can really show you what's going on. So you've got your European session, you've got your US session, you also have the Asia session as well, but I don't particularly look at that because volumes can be fairly low in those sessions, whereas I do quite like to look at the Asia ranges as well. If price breaks out of the Asia range, high and low, that could be something you look at. But basically, I like to really look at and focus on the European and US sessions when you're looking at intraday opportunities. Now, this is a 15-minute chart, but you can go down to the 5-minute and lower if you wish to look at these potential opportunities. That's what I personally do. And you can see here how price reacts to a lot of these levels. Now, obviously, the lower you go with the volume profiles and sort of the time zones you use, the more chance that price is going to come and interact with one of these levels. This isn't a, if price comes into this level, you buy and sell it. That isn't what this indicator does. It's just showing you an overview of where the most traded levels and key areas have been, for you then to make your own decision off the back of that. Obviously, you can include other things. You can include, sort of a price action strategy at these points. You can add other indicators around these types of areas just to give you more confluence. All sorts of things you can add in your trading. But if we kind of have a little look at some of the key reactions that we've seen here, I'll start off sort of this day. Price was trading to the downside the majority of the day. We rally, we come in between the sort of value area low and the sort of higher volume area, and we get a nice rejection from that point. So again, that could have offered a little bit of an opportunity, but you can actually see, if we kind of go on to the next day, the point of control and the value area high of the US session is here and here. So we have point of control from this day, value area high from this day. Price comes in, rejects that area and pushes to the downside. We get another rally into it, we get a rejection, price pushes lower. So in that occasion, those two levels have worked really well for that particular opportunity. You can see here as well, this is the US session. This is the European session. You can see we have, if I just draw those a little bit better, let me just take those lines off. Let me just grab a different tool. Just make it a line tool, make it red. So the value area low of the US session, value area high of the European session, and look how price has reacted to those levels the next day. Okay, so if you can add confluence on top of that, that can also give you some opportunities. Okay, so just to clarify those sessions, you can change the sessions. Mine are set to 7 a.m. to midday. Okay, and then the US session for me is the midday to the 10 p.m. close. Okay, so you can have a little look at something like that. So I hope that made sense, and if you did like that video, please like it, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more Forex trading content. Hope that all made sense. Watch it back a couple of times, but that's how I look at the volume profiles from a day-to-day basis. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.